On today's Almost Authentic Gringa, we're going to make the yummiest pumpkin dessert that will knock the socks off your family's pie. It's like having your own little pie in your hand that you don't have to share. So get ready for Pumpkin Empanadas Gringa style. Here at Gringa's Kitchen, I love using seasonal and fresh ingredients. They're more healthful and they just taste better. This little pumpkin here is going to go into our filling, and it's going to taste so much better than canned pumpkin. It'll be lighter and just as sweet, but tastes better. So I'm going to cut them in half and we're going to roast them in the oven. Now when you get to this point, you don't want to have to cut through that hard knobby part, so you can just pull it apart and it'll break open for you. Now I'm going to scoop out the seeds. Just take a big spoon and start scraping out those seeds. And these are delicious if you take out all that pulp. Just rinse them through on the colander and then roast them in the oven, and they'll get nice and toasty and you'll have your homemade pepitas. Okay. I'll save those for later. Okay, so I'm going to take my sheet tray. Put my pumpkin face down. Okay, I'm going to rub both sides with oil and salt. It just helps all the moisture to come out of it while it roasts. And then we're going to pour in about 1/2 inch of water into the pan itself. This will keep the pumpkin from drying out when it roasts. Now I'm going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees, and it's going to take about 45 minutes to an hour. It depends on the size of your pumpkin. For this size, I'm just going to do the 45 minutes. The pumpkin's in the oven and we're going to make our crust. Here's what you'll need. I'm going to start with the dough blade on my food processor. It usually looks something like this. And we're going to put in our flour. My neighbor bought me these hedgehog measuring cups and I just think it's adorable, so I had to use it today. And our sugar. And our salt. Okay, now we're going to add in our butter, and this will be straight cold from the refrigerator. And we're going to mix that up until it looks like wet sand. And then we'll add in our cream cheese. And do the same thing. And put it out on our board. I'm going to use a little bit of flour. Going to make it into a nice little disc. So we're going to wrap him up into the plastic wrap so that he can go into the fridge and chill. Now, how do you know when your dough is chilled? It's when you open up your refrigerator and he says, "What's up?" So our pumpkin is fully roasted in the oven, and I've let it completely cool. And you'll know it's done roasting when it looks kind of like a deflated basketball. So now what I'm going to do is scoop out the inside and we're going to start making our filling. As you're pulling this out, it should just come right away from the skin. There should be no problem. You know it's fully roasted when it pulls away like that. Okay, that's all of our pumpkin. Now when you've roasted your pumpkin, there's still quite a bit of liquid in there, and so we're going to just press that out. So I'm going to get a sieve, and I'm going to measure out about 2 cups worth. And I'm really going to pack it in there because we're going to lose some of the liquid, so I want enough pumpkin to make 2 cups in the end. Okay, I'm going to put that on there. I'm going to use almost all of this pumpkin. Okay. Okay, I'm going to push down on the pumpkin and just try to get some of that excess liquid out. It's just going to drop right through to the bottom. And we're going to do this just so that our filling isn't so liquidy. It'll be just a little bit thicker and it'll stay in our empanadas better. So let's put our filling together. Here's what you're going to need. I'm going to measure out 2 cups of my pumpkin. And then we want to add 2 egg yolks. Now we need to add in our sweetened condensed milk. Don't mistake it for evaporated milk. You want to buy sweetened condensed milk. It's not only had the liquid removed just like evaporated milk, but it's had it replaced by sugar, which is what makes it sweet and why it's going to make a great dessert. So I'm going to measure this out. It's very sticky stuff. And last but not least, we're going to add in our seasonings. So I have ground ginger, ground cinnamon, and a pinch of salt, about a 1/4 teaspoon of each. And then I'm going to add in some nutmeg, but I'm going to do it fresh. It'll give you a richer, fuller flavor than just buying it in the store. And it looks perfect. So I'm going to take this out and chill it while I roll out my dough, and then we'll put our empanadas together. So we finished our filling, our dough has been chilling, and now it's time to put our empanadas together. And pretty soon we get to eat them. So first I'm just going to flour my board. I'm going to unwrap my dough and start rolling it out. Put some flour on top. Now I want this to roll out evenly, so I'm going to start from the center and just try to get that rolled out, and then I'll turn it a couple times. You eventually want it to be about 1/4 inch thick. Too thick and you'll get a doughy empanada, and too thin and it'll fall apart when you're making it. Now I'm going to cut it into the pieces that I want for the empanada. I'm going to kind of square it off. Now the dough that we're pulling off the edges can be re-rolled and make another empanada out of it. Okay, let's set that aside. So I'm going to cut this into I'm cutting these into squares because they're going to fold into triangles with the filling inside, and that's going to be your empanada. So let's take a couple tablespoons full of our filling. Now you don't want to overfill these or they start busting out the sides and it's no fun. Now earlier in our filling we used just the egg yolks, so I saved my whites and I'm going to use those right now to help seal my empanadas, and also we're going to use it to glaze the top to make them nice and crispy and brown. Okay, so I'm just going to use this on this one. Just do the sides. And then I'm going to take the corner, pull it over, and seal the edges. Now I'm just using my fingers. Some people use a fork, whatever you need to make it look the way that you'd like to make it look, but you want to have it sealed so that none of the liquid can come out while it's cooking. And there is your beautiful empanada. We're going to bust out the rest of these, put them all in a sheet tray, and we're going to bake them, and then we'll be ready for icing. We've assembled our empanadas, and now we're going to bake them in a 350-degree oven for about 15 minutes. They should be just a little bit of crusty golden brown on top, and they'll be perfect. I'm going to assemble what I would call an icing, or maybe just a drizzle that's going to go over the top of our empanadas. It's a cream cheese flavoring, and it's sweet, but not too sweet. Okay, so I'm going to cream up the cream cheese just a little bit, and put in a couple tablespoons of milk with that. And get that mixing. When that's combined, I'm going to slowly add in the sugar, and you have to do that a little bit slowly because it'll puff up in your face and you'll get a sugar bath. Once you get a nice creamy consistency, you can set that aside and wait for your hot empanadas to come out of the oven. I took the empanadas out of the oven and let them cool, and now it's time to dig in. So I'm going to drizzle on a little bit of the icing. And take a bite. That is delicious. I'm not one for pumpkin pie, but these are delicious. Please join us again at Almost Authentic Gringa, where it's fresh, organic, and easy.